Hey everybody, Liz here. This is session 2. And today for our coaching practice, I want to talk a little bit about what I call the three minds. There's a lot of ways to talk about the minds, the human minds, the different parts of the mind. And this is my model, and it seems to work with people, clients, things like that. And so let's just look at them and list them here. I look at the conscious mind like the iceberg, the part of the iceberg you can see. We also call this the objective mind, especially in some of that new thought author literature. There's about 100 new thought authors that wrote in the last century. They might talk about the objective mind and the subjective mind. I call it the conscious mind is the part of the iceberg you see above the water. We're going to talk about it. It's your ego, it's your thinking process. Then there's the subconscious mind, which some call the subjective mind. That's all the subconscious programming we're about to talk about. And then I refer to something called the superconscious mind, which is basically source, God, your higher self, your higher mind, source, the universe, spirit, all that is, ground of being, stuff like that, whatever you want to call it. It's the stuff that's not us that we're connected to. All right. All right. There we go. All right. So let's talk about the three minds. All right. When you're thinking about the conscious or objective minds, this is where you do your thinking. This is where your education lands. This is your intellect. It's also the gatekeeper. And what I mean by that is when you hear stuff out in the world like, oh, she stinks, she's no good, he's awful, they're awful. When you hear gossip at the water cooler at work, or people are saying things to you, or you hear people gossiping, or you're saying it to yourself or to other people, the negative stuff of life, if you don't actually consciously say, hey, I don't accept that, or cancel, clear, delete, or that's not mine, something like that, if you hear it enough, it can actually go inside your subconscious. I think about children from the 0 to 7 years old in a alpha state, in a hypnagogic state, where most of what children hear up to age 7, they just kind of accept it. They don't have critical thinking skills yet. That's why someone famous has said, I don't remember who said, give me your child, and by age 7, I'll make them the people I want them to be. I don't know what that was, but I can't remember. But as conscious adults now, we can actually consciously say, that's not mine. And someone's talking about how awful someone is or how awful you are, or if you're telling how awful someone is, you can actually say, cancel, that's not mine. But it's important to become that gatekeeper for ourselves as adults, as thinking adults. And this is where you get to choose. You get to accept or reject ideas. Like, I don't want to go to Crete with you today, right? Or something like that. Or I do want to go to Alabama to see my mom. You make these choices, you get to choose from your ideas. And this is where you originate ideas. Now, I think that mind is non-local to the body. What I mean by that is I think that our brains are simply receivers and transmitters, and that our mind is in our auric fields or our biofields around us. But that's just Liz. That's what I think. But I think that ideas land in the brain, sometimes through mass consciousness thinking. That's why it's important to not be doom thinking, and important to be positive and have that good attitude, because then we're like, oh my God, life's terrible. You add that to mass consciousness and you add it to your own consciousness. I'm not saying be Pollyanna, rose-colored glasses, where la la la, life's fine, but you can understand that you cannot accept certain ideas into your own consciousness and live your beautiful life. Okay, so such and such is going on in another country. You can pray for them, send them healing, good thoughts, finances if you wish. But then well, my kids and myself, my home, I'm fine. I'm going to live my life and pay my bills, take care of my family, and help my community, because that's what we can affect, right? Instead of worrying about the rest of the world. What you think in mass consciousness is super important. Anyway, ideas land in your brain. But I will tell you that in terms of life results and success, this is only 2% of the source of your success, your own logical thinking. And I hope to convince you of that by the end of this little essay. Your subconscious or subjective mind, we call the emotional mind. This mind cannot reject. This is why your conscious mind needs to be the gatekeeper. Because if you hear something long enough, it does go in. And this is why, by the way, subliminals and autosuggestion, affirmations, stuff we're going to talk about next time, do get in eventually as well, because it cannot reject your ideas. The more negative you speak to others or yourself, and how you think about yourself, how negatively you think about yourself, that goes in and trains you to think, oh, she thinks negatively. Okay, let's create a negative life for her. It's true. There's a concept called everything is you pushed out. They say IPO in the manifestation community. I don't know that everything is you pushed out, but I think to a large degree, your own thinking causes your outside reality. So you can't reject those ideas if you hear them enough, and especially if you are that child from 0 to 7 or in the womb, by the way. It can only accept ideas. It has to accept ideas, even if whether they're real or imagined, right or wrong, moral, not moral, ethical, not ethical. It accepts the ideas, and this is why we have belief systems and faith groups that and people doing crazy, violent things out there sometimes because you just get it in your system, and that's how you're wired, and that's how you are. I have clients who are just they just say, I'm just an angry person, Liz. But no, they're wired to be angry. And when they get triggered, they're angry. This is what happens. It's just a trained behavior. But by the way, when you do train and wrestle your subconscious mind, this is where 98% of your results are. So let's say you want to make money, but let's say you have a poverty consciousness, something like that, where some doubt somewhere deep inside, we're going to get to this later too, you feel like for some reason you shouldn't have money, maybe because your parents were worried about money when your mom was pregnant with you, or the parents argued about money when you were smaller, or you had money stolen from you, something, right? If you have some sabotage programming that's saying you're not supposed to have money, it doesn't matter what you do in the physical, how you build your business, the money gets lost. Cancel. But I mean, this is what happens in the 3D world. This is why it's super important to mentally rehearse what you want. So this is what I call the paradigm for short, because I don't want to say subconscious programming, okay? When I say the paradigm, it's a program that's running you. It's part of your subconscious that is not advised for you at this time. Now, by the way, your subconscious is, its job is to actually take care of you and keep you safe, to keep the child safe, usually. But really the techniques that it had back in the day to keep you safe, like hiding in a cave, hiding under the bed, are not useful for like a 35-year-old grown man or grown woman, something like that. Like we have new ideas and new things we want to do. But if you have that program to keep you small, to keep you not successful because it's safer not to stand out and stay under the radar, say, this is just one style of programming, it will keep you small unless you work with it. And this is why I've made it one of my life missions to help people get into that subconscious mind, be it through meditation, Kundalini yoga, affirmations, and things like that. So this is all the stuff I teach. The paradigm, I say, is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior. And most of our behavior is habitual. It's really scary to change the paradigm because it's the devil we know. Like, for example, people with long-term illness. Can you imagine how some of these folks feel subconsciously to lose their lover, lose the illness? Like, who are you without the illness? It's pretty crazy. And by the way, when you start to change your paradigm with some of the work I'm going to suggest to you next time, some of the techniques, it may put up a royal battle. It acts like a demon. I say that jokingly, but like a demon or a con man. It just will try to push back because you spent most of your life thinking and behaving in a certain way and having life happen to you in a certain way. It's really hard to make those paradigm changes. That's why I call it the paradigm. So I'm here to tell you again in this lesson that when you make stories, you have explanations, excuses, complaints, how you use your time, your perception of reality and the world around you, the results you have. I tell you, your paradigm is showing. Paradigm is totally showing. Now, I teach a style of coaching that comes from this. I just want to explain my lineage, if you will. This style comprises hundreds of years of continual mentorship, from Abdullah to Neville Goddard to Earl Nightingale to Napoleon Hill to J. Earl Shoaff to Jim Rohn to Bob Proctor and finally Arash Vasugi, who's my current coach. It works for them. These techniques I'm going to burden you with next time work for them and it will work for you. And I want to remind you about a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, who says, basically, I'm paraphrasing, but do the thing and you will have the power. It's always important to take action before you're ready. Do the thing you fear. Folks, when you're making excuses why you can't do the thing, we don't want to do the thing, Liz doesn't want to do the thing, and making excuses is that fear. It's keeping you small. We always do the thing, whatever it is, right? I can name 100 examples, like learn to drive for the first time, water ski, ride a horse, do the presentation, do the thing and you will have the power. You get the courage and the power and the knowledge and the wisdom and the savvy from doing the thing. It's important to take action before you're ready. Like I said last time, it's important to be ready to really suck at something, to really stink. I tell my clients to do something really scary every year, something that scares you. because it builds your strength and your discipline, your character to be able to do hard things. It's hard. It's hard when we're comfy. It's hard to do hard things. That's why we do hard things. Fear is crap. Doubt and fear are in your paradigm. It's that old conditioning. And what happens is that paradigm gets you when you're depressed, stressed, tired, a little sick. You're like, oh, let me just eat the food. Let me just go back to the relationship. It felt so good when it was good at the beginning. You know, let me just go back. So you will have maybe some up and down days as you begin to change your paradigm. It's hard, but if you really want to make a big change, it's important to make those steps, and they're freaking scary, which is why my recipe, I call it the sauce, why the sauce that I teach takes an hour a day, because if you spend most of your day in doom thinking, I'll just call it that, in thinking about doom, things about doom, like, oh, the world's going to end, my life's going to end. You spend most of your day thinking about that, but you write out positive affirmations for 10 minutes. What do you think is going to still be in your subconscious? Okay. So you can also look at your results like a read receipt, like a readout of your current paradigm. So you can look over what's your income like, your relationships, your business or career, your weight, your fitness, your health, your happiness, your sleep. It's a readout receipt that some work could use to be done. And this, like I said last time, doing this kind of work is a little bit of something every day. It's not just the one workshop or the hour a day. It's, changing your thinking and turning things around. I'm not saying, we didn't get here in a day. It's likely we're not going to get out of it in a day, but we can make the start. So you can look at where have we messed up? You can make a list and begin to fix it and begin to change things around. And I'll talk to you about what I'm talking about when I say lists. All right, let's talk about financial freedom. I find this to be one of the most worthy goals because of what it makes of you. A lot of us have poverty consciousness programming, as I call it. Like money is the root of all, money is the root of all evil. Only rich people have money. Sorry, only evil people have money. It's bad to have money. You take it from other people. Like Kim has told us that there's actually enough abundance for all of us. There's not like a scarcity program out there. They're trying to push a scarcity program on us, right? So there is enough for all, right? We're not taking from others, right? So doing this financial work is probably one of our most deepest challenges. And if you are not one of the dark folks, I'm one of the negative folks out there. I call it our global handlers, I'll say. This can actually really grow your character, because you can think of managing your money or your business can grow your character and your personal strength and your money management skills, but you can give it away or start a foundation. I'm talking about the good kind of foundations. You can be generous, and it gives you this freedom and joy where you're just happy. And then when you are happy and have this joy, you can actually just continue to make more money. It's who you are that makes the money, not what you do. Now, you may need, on the way to financial prosperity, you need to pay the price in grit. Do some work. But I'm talking about doing the grit to develop, doing the grit of the work to develop you along the way, not to do the hard works. You might need to do the inner work, all the things you don't want to do. So I invite you to think about working on yourself and falling in love with yourself and with the process. All right. I invite you to fall in love with being the best version of yourself. So this involves self-concept work and self-confidence work and sovereignty work. Believe in yourself. You cannot create a quantum leap being comfortable. This is why you do the scary thing. It trains you to do scary things like invest all your money in the business. What the hell, right? Doing that quantum jump that I call leaping into the abyss. So listen to this. This is a Jim Rohn quote. I love it. Working on doing well at your job can make you money. Working on yourself can make you a fortune. Like, who are you? Who are you inside? What is your attitude? Like we talked about last time. You can't create a quantum leap from your comfort zone. That is for sure. Here's another key thing. It's success in business or in anything else is 95% mindset, who you are inside, and only 5% strategy. Work on you, not only on your job. It's good to do a good job at work, for sure. For sure. I always used to tell my soldiers, work a couple ranks ahead of yourself and you'll make rank faster. In a savvy way, so you don't have people hate on your colleagues hating on you, but do it in a smart way. You could do a really good job and work a level above your job and be the best employee for your employer in a smart, savvy way, right? But logical, rational, analytical mind, it gets in the way of a quantum leap because it keeps you smaller than infinite you, because your logical, rational, and analytical mind will come up for reasons why you can't have that or can't do that. right? So you can say, what is your subjective mind and ego mind saying? What are they saying to you, right? You can't do that. You can never that. You've never been successful before. Who do you think you are? That kind of stuff. So that's why it's important to work on your mindset. So here's how we begin to do that. I would say, I call this the big five as on African safari, but if you work on one of these things at a time and just improve by 1% each day, you'll do pretty well. I have the elephant as self-image because I would say, if you're wondering what to do, I mentioned these last time, but self-image is hugely important. Like, do you strut in a room like you own it, like you deserve all the attention and all the money? I mean, not in an arrogant way, in a delightful, calm, poised, magnetic way, charismatic way, not being a jerk, but being the best you and being just so confident and helpful and knowledgeable and poised that people are attracted to you, want to help you, want to learn from you, want help from you. You work on that self-image, and I'm going to give you the tips next time. Are you able to make decisions when you need to make them, like I discussed last time? What's your attitude like? Again, the whole topic of the last session. What are your standards? And are you able to have discipline? Can you pick discipline and improve by 1%? Can you just avoid the cookie that night? Or go do the exercise, take the walk you don't not in the mood to take, or make that phone call, whatever it is, eat a little cleaner today, whatever it is, right? I'm not trying to make it about physicality. It's just whatever you decide you need to fix in life, can you improve by 1% each day? I call these the big five. And actually, each of these deserves its own lecture in a way. I want to say these are some of the quotes from my coaches. Success is not permanent and failure is not fatal. In other words, if you got the business going, you need to keep up your work, your internal self-improvement, self-concept work to continue your successes. And we all fumble and stumble. So just because you've got the one success, or you've got your 3 franchises, you're good to go. You've bought the house, you bought the boat, you got the wife, you got the life. Failure can happen. Businesses fail, but it's not, you could just pick yourself up and keep going. It's not like you have the one success and you could stop becoming a better you. That's the point. And then failure is not fatal. You just, like I said last time, you could pull on your big girl or big boy overalls and just get back to it and say, wow, that's interesting. What's next? So what do we do next? And I talked about the paradigm of this lesson, right? If you have a strong desire and will for something, like I want to have that one business, I want to make the soap. I want to open up a soap making factory. I make great soap. Desire will kick your paradigm's ass. It will begin to break apart the ill-functioning parts of your paradigm or of your subconscious mind. And you'll get the good stuff in there, the good affirmations, the thankfulness, the gratitude, the appreciation, all the good stuff in your subconscious mind, which begins to set up opportunities, people, places, chances, money, knowledge, the things you need to make a better you and have a better life. And also improve by 1% every day. My coaches tell me, time's going to pass anyway, Liz. You may as well be great. Time's going to pass anyway. You may as well be great. It does not matter how hard you work or how many hours you put in. Ultimately, if the program or your paradigm does not change, your results will be the same from one year to the next. Many of us could look back on our lives and say, yep, same, hasn't changed. So let's talk about the conscious mind for a minute. I call these higher faculties, these 6 things: reason, perception, memory, intuition, imagination, and will. And again, each of these could have their own 10 minutes. Higher faculties, make them work for you. Let me read this. We have not been trained to use our objective, powerful minds for our good. Instead, we rely on social media, advertising, other media, what he or she says or thinks, our bank accounts, our 5 senses, the geopolitical situation. These end up showing us what to think and feel if we're not paying attention. This gets accepted by your subconscious mind. All the doom and gloom, the doom scrolling, right? All that stuff. You can begin to turn that around when you go, no, you use your reason and say, my life's fine right here. I'm good. My community's good. We're taking care of each other. I can't heal the whole world except with my mind and prayer, which is super important, but I can't feed every hungry child right this minute physically, but I can do what I can do in my community. And if we all do that, we'll all be okay. You can use your perception to change and reframe how you think about stuff. Oh, I hate those kinds of people. Like, well, it's not really serving me or them to hate them. I'm just going to whatever, just relax a little bit. You can reframe psychologically your perception of reality. And you can actually look back on the good parts of your memory, the really most amazing parts. This is neurolinguistic programming, NLP say, but you can go back to the really good memories you have and get yourself these physical, mental triggers that can help you move forward. You take those successes and you lock those memories in, not all the sad, bad memories. How easy is it to recall a bad memory? We can retrain ourselves to have good memories, just recall the good. And again, I'm not talking about Pollyanna fake life stuff. I'm saying, our memories are faulty anyway. You may as well remember the good ones. Hell, you can just make up your own faulty memories and have good ones. Really, you will be healthier and happier. So why the heck not? You can develop your intuition. So you get those drops or those hits when the penny drops and you go, ah, and you move from doing that to-do list, drudge filled to-do list, like, oh, I got to do the thing. I have to clean out the basement. And you can use your intuition to go, you know what? I'm going to do these 3 things today. And your life is lived in this beautiful flow. And you can use your imagination instead of thinking about gloom on the planet and doom, cataclysms. You can go, imagine a beautiful world. As my shaman trainers, talk Liz, used to say that their job was to dream the world into being. And they did. They dreamed an imagination and imagined a beautiful, gorgeous world for the planet instead of doom and gloom. Okay. And then you can use your will to, avoid the cookie if you need to. It's just an example. And remember, you're important. Your vibration is super important. How you vibe is how you live. So Arash, my coach, says, focus on what you want all day long. And it's impossible over time not to get the results you want. Again, am I going to be the Dallas Cowboys quarterback at my age? Probably not. No. If I wanted to, I could join an old lady female football league if I wanted to. I don't. But, I could have something like that or have some desire that points me toward that. So what's a big goal? I counsel my clients to have a big goal. And here's why. The big scary goal means you cannot use your ego, intellect, and mind, and analytical mind to figure it out. You have no idea how it's going to happen. And by the way, the how is none of your business. You have the goal, you set your picture in mind, and you do everything you know to do each day. We're going to talk about that next time. You're going to do everything you need to know in that day. You're going to do it. And then life and opportunities, like I said, just come your way and help you. The how is none of your business. It's something you've never done before and sounds absolutely crazy. It sounds so crazy, in fact, that your logical, analytical mind may reject it, but don't let it. Like, you can't have that. You can't be a millionaire. You can't have 10 franchises of whatever place. Stop it. The process I'm going to teach you next time is so easy to do and easy not to do, but you have to know what you want, right? So people will say, well, Liz, how do I know what I want? What's my passion? Well, a lot of us already know our passions, but if you don't, here's some certain ways in. You can just ask yourself, what do you love to do? What are your hobbies? This sounds obvious, but helpful. What is your intuition or your gut telling you, right? What are you dreaming about? What synchronistic things are happening in your life? Like, that person keeps showing up and wants me to do that thing with her, teach that class with her. Maybe I'll do it. What mental pictures are you seeing? What are you curious about? What would you do if you didn't have to make money, right? What do you like to search? What do you like to think about on the internet? And you can simply ask source or whomever you talk to what your purpose is. There's ways to find out. If you don't, just poke around. So I suggest to people a really big goal because you have no idea how you're going to get there. And you can have sub goals under that, but get the really big goal. It will be challenging at times, but if you know where you are, you look at where your current status is, you can get to where you're going. And you see, I have the person jumping over your paradigm there, right? That's you. It's hard, but you cannot be obsessed with your current circumstances. Like, oh, I'm in poverty, blah, blah, blah. Just get that vision. It's really important to act from your goal, not from your current situation. Act from your goal. Of course, you can't spend money you don't have in your bank account. I'm just saying you can write pretend checks to yourself. I teach that. You can just imagine, I would buy that. Imagine yourself on the cruise or with the big house or moving your family from one country to another, whatever it is, or having the crops to sell, whatever it is. Imagine and live from that space as much as possible, right? So who do you need to be? It's about who you need to be to have your goal. In other words, let's say you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire. Do you currently have the ability to manage those finances, right? Maybe you could take some business classes if you want, right? Or would you lose it all? This is why sports ballers and people who do sports and people who win the lottery lose all their money because they can't manage it. Are you ready to have what it is you're asking for? So that's what I have. So if you want to make these quantum leaps for some of the advice I'm going to give this time and next time, you can have your dream life. I can't wait to celebrate with you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is great. This is super great. Thank you for being here with me.